Here's your lecture for 4.3.2 in Integrated 3. I'm doing problem 4-72. It says reread the problem 4-63 charity race times from 4.3.1 and recreate the relative frequency histogram on your calculator. So we did this in class, and record the mean and the standard deviation. So to get a relative frequency histogram, I need to actually put all the data in. So this data came from the table, and I had to type each and every number in one by one, number by number. And you have to name it. I don't know if that helps. Oh, yikes. You have to name it a letter of the alphabet. So I named mine L for list. There we go. And so I just typed L1, and it made the little 1 go down there like a subscript, and then I typed in every single, I have a better pointer than that. I typed in every single number, all 40 numbers in that list. I typed them all in one by one, separated by commas, and you'll notice that when you're entering data, you need this square bracket here. Let me do autofocus. I used to be able to screen share on here, but I can't figure out how it will let me. Okay, so I've got those in there, and then it said recreate the relative frequency histogram. So to get a histogram, I'm going to go, you can actually just type the word histogram, which is going to be easier, but for me, since I'm using this keyboard kind of upside down, I think it's going to be easier for me to scroll down. So you want to go, oh, I can't scroll with this angle. Ugh. I'm trying to scroll down, so I'm going to look for histogram, see? There's histogram. Oh. So this might happen to you. You have to open another area, and then you can get your histogram. So this time I'm just going to type histogram. And then I'm going to put in a parenthesis, and I'm going to name L1 because that's my data set. So I can just type the letter L and the number 1, and it just knows that I mean list 1. And then see how it has there's a little comma right there. It wants a comma and the bin width. So I'm going to type a comma, and then the bin width is 1. Okay, and then I'm going to say a relative frequency. So I push the relative button, and if that wouldn't have if that wouldn't have fit on your screen, in the very edge of the screen, can you see this little zoom fit? I could zoom fit it and make it fit perfectly. And then I like to left align mine, so it's going to be left aligned. And then it's asking me, so that's recreating the relative frequency histogram. And then I have to record the mean and the standard deviation. So you can go through that menu that I keep going through and just scroll around till you find, or click around till you find mean, or you can type mean, M-E-A-N, and then put a parenthesis, and then say L1. And then see how it gave me the mean right there, how it's 23.2175. And then I click down to the next line, and then I want the standard deviation. I think I'm going to actually use the menu because I don't think you type out the whole word standard deviation. I think it might be STDV or something like that. So let's look. So I'm looking for standard deviation, It's STDEV, so possibly typing that in, you could just type it instead of go to the menu. And then you're going to say L1. And see, now I have my mean and my standard deviation. And so they've asked me for a bin width of 1. I think I already set my bin width. Oh, it's not a touch screen. How can I scroll up? Yeah, my bin width is already 1 right there. So now I am going to use my calculator to model the women's 5K times with a normal probability density function, which is a normal distribution, and sketch the histogram with your model on top of it. So this is the new part. Like, we did all this, everything that I just showed you, we already did this in class. But the new part is that we need a normal distribution. So oh no. So go to normal distribution. So there's and there's always a shortcut for typing this, but you can, if you can't remember what it is you're looking for, just scroll down. I think there's a heading called distributions, and we want a normal dist. And so I think if you actually type that in, then you don't have to search through the menu anymore. So this here tells me what I am looking, or what they want me to put inside the parentheses. So they want the mean and a comma and the standard deviation. Okay, so I think that's what they want. So my mean is 23.2175. And I could have copied and pasted that. I think I have to let go of this, and it's going to go off the screen for a second so I can copy and paste the standard deviation. So Control C. And I'll put it where you can see it in just a second. Control V. Okay, so I just copied and pasted it in there, and then I'm gonna do a zoom. Well, I'm gonna get this out of our way. Actually, I don't even really need a zoom fit, because I can see now this curve is actually mathematically what the computer just did to it, or to get this curve, is it took all the data points that we had, and it kind of like tried to model it just like we would with a line, like with a scatter plot. You know how if you have like a scatter plot, you can get a line of best fit? This is like kind of the curve of best fit, but it's always going to be what we call normal, which means it's going to have a perfect symmetry, and the very middle is always the mean. Okay, and then the standard deviation, so really they made this model from the mean, which will be the exact middle, and then they used the standard deviation to figure out what the spread, we've talked about this before, what the spread of the data is. So this curve, this blue curve, that is a model that models your data, like all those data points that I so painstakingly had to type into that list. Those are being modeled by this curve. So you can see obviously that this is not a perfect fit for my data, but I mean, it's useful enough. So I think that I'm going to do the next problem in a separate video, because this video is so long. So stay tuned for that one, part 2.